Yeah, I'm kind of blacklisted. I haven't gotten a studio job in 15 years. So you are feeling in a way that you are banned from the know, not in a way. You are, yeah, I think. Yeah, shut the video camera off. I will keep it on until we're in rehearsal. Oh damn, Val Kilmer didn't just dip out of Hollywood, he got wiped off the map at the height of his fame. Boom, he disappeared from blockbusters with zero warning. No farewell, no press conference, nothing. Now Mel Gibson's breaking his silence and spilling the dark truth behind Kilmer's fall from grace. Turns out Val didn't want to play the Hollywood puppet game, and that might have cost him everything. But you think that people found it difficult to work with you because yeah. What's the one past difficult? Impossible. Impossible, yeah, I'm kind of blacklisted. I haven't gotten a studio job in 15 years. Let's take it back to the 80s and early 90s. Kilmer wasn't just acting in movies. He was the movie. The man was Juilliard trained, the youngest person ever accepted, and oozing with pure electric talent. He had that cocky charm producers dreamed of, but unlike most, he could actually back it up. Top secret Top Gun The Doors tombstone when he stepped into the boots of Jim Morrison, fans legit said he was Morrison.n. Then came Batman Forever in 1995, and Kilmer officially joined the Hollywood elite. So you feel in a way that you are banned from the, no, not in a way, you are. Yeah, I think. Yeah, is your goal to get back or yeah, do love to? I've always watched movies and wondered what I'd be like in that part. But just as quickly as he skyrocketed, he vanished. When it was time for Batman and Robin, Kilmer was a ghost.st. No goodbye, no gossip, just radio silence. And suddenly, bam, George Clooney shows up in the suit. Director Joel Schumacher, oh, he didn't stay quiet. When he finally spoke to The Independent, he unleashed, this wasn't some sly jab. It was an all-out verbal smackdown. The way Joel dragged Kilmer that interview was less about differences on set and more, let me tell you what really went down. Joel Schumacher didn't just throw shade, he lit the whole forest on fire. He flat out called Val psychotic. Yeah, I had ideas, you know, insecurities obviously about myself that I projected onto the movie business. Just the sounds coming out of my mouth, it was just absurd. Absurdly unrealistic, so apparently I have an evil twin. In that unfiltered rant, he said he was done sticking up for spoiled, overpaid actors and even admitted he prayed to never work with Val again. And the most savage part was he ended with, he was badly behaved. He was rude and inappropriate. Then we had 2 weeks where he didn't speak to me, but it was bliss. Bliss, that's cold. But let's get something straight. Since when does being difficult get you kicked out of Hollywood? Be serious. This place runs on drama, diva fits, and wild egos. Plenty of A-listers have flipped out on set, trashed trailers, and cursed out crew and still scored award nominations and million-dollar deals. I was a dumb actor, but I did complain quite a bit when I was younger. I didn't appreciate the business that afforded me the lifestyle that I very quickly enjoyed. You know, very quickly, I starred in my first movie. I was the lead in the first play I did professionally. And now that, I don't have that privilege, you know, I wish that I loved more. I want to be a better person. I try to figure that out every day and be more, grateful. So what really happened with Val? Was he wildening, or was he just not kissing the right rings? Then the whispers started, blacklisted. And this time Val didn't deny it. He confirmed it in one brutally honest interview. He said it had nothing to do with how he acted, the truth is he refused to play by the rules. The industry wanted silence, loyalty, obedience, and valor. He thought this was about art. He actually believed talent was enough. But right around 1998 to 1999, the timeline gets murky. Kilmer disappears from major roles, and strangely, he's not the only one. Mel Gibson, Wesley Snipes, Brendan Fraser, they all started fading real fast, and they all went dark around the same time. If you get back, will you behave in, another way, or yes, yeah, in the way that gets me hired again. I was very, outspoken about very specific things about the art, but it's a business, and I acted like it wasn't Mel Gibson, once the king of the box office, suddenly couldn't land a role unless he paid for the whole film himself. Wesley Snipes locked up over tax charges, his accountant supposedly dropped the ball, and Brendan Fraser vanished after speaking out about being mistreated. You see it right, the internet sure does. This isn't just bad luck. It's starting to look like a pattern, and Mel slipped up and said the quiet part out loud way back in 1998. He described Hollywood like one of those dusty, sinister saloons from an old western. You walk in, and bam, the whole place goes dead silent. Everyone turns to stare. Chills. At first he thought he was being paranoid, but with time he knew he was right. After he directed The Passion of the Christ, major studios iced him out. Total silence. He had to fund his own films just to stay in the game. You know, I had a whole bunch of weird, paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand, right? And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me. They don't. And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it. And then 1999 rolls in, and things get extra strange. Stanley Kubrick drops Eyes Wide Shut. Secret societies mask elite rituals. It didn't just feel like a thriller, it felt like a warning. But here's the kicker, Kubrick dies. Not after the release. Before he could approve the final cut, word on the street was that around 25 minutes of footage vanished from the final version. And guess who else dipped out in '99? Val Kilmer, done gone from the A-list just like that. And speaking of masks, let's talk about Batman. Kilmer's Batman. Cold, distant, hollow, like a man who's seen too much and can't take the mask off anymore. Val Kilmer wasn't just making movies. He was documenting his life. Every chapter, from his childhood to private moments on set, the man filmed everything. It's like he knew one day he'd need the receipts. The whole place can't be like, you know, a weird town, you know, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar, and they all shut up when he looks at them, and they tell you, don't go out of the house on the hill. And it's like that. Hmichum. And then you go away, and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff that couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like that could be, and then you find out later on the track that you were exactly right. And when his 2021 documentary, Val, dropped, it wasn't just emotional, it was eerie. The footage felt like more than memories. It felt like a man trying to preserve proof as if he was archiving his own disappearance. And then comes the dark twist. The island, yeah, that island, the flights, the sealed names, the silence, the timing. Look closely, and you'll see Kilmer's fall from Hollywood lines up too perfectly with the rising whispers around Epstein's circle. Did Kilmer get invited and refuse? Did he say something he wasn't supposed to? We don't know. But one thing's for sure, too many careers crumbled during that era for it to be a coincidence. Now jump to 2015. That's when the script for Sound of Freedom was written. A film about child trafficking inspired by former Homeland Security agent Tim Ballard's real-life mission, filming wrapped in 2018. A powerful story, a big topic. You'd expect a huge release, right? Not even close. The movie was treated like a hot potato. Passed around, ignored, avoided. Nobody wanted to touch it. It sat collecting dust for 5 years. Why? Well, I have thousands of hours of videotapes and film reels that I've shot throughout my life and career. Shut the video camera off. I will keep it on until we're in rehearsal. Oh damn. Things get sketchy real quick because at handshake, and just like that, opportunities vanished. Roles gone, scripts dried up. The media flipped the whole story on him. It wasn't just about stepping away, and it definitely wasn't just about getting sick. According to Mel, Val didn't vanish by choice. He was pushed out. Why? Because he refused to play by Hollywood's unspoken rules. That same shadowy system Mel's been calling out for decades allegedly turned its back on Kilmer for not falling in line. And now people are starting to ask the real question. Was this blacklisting really about ego, or was it about exposure? By the time Val returned as Iceman in Top Gun: Maverick, it felt like a miracle, a comeback moment the whole world was waiting for. But when you rewatch that scene today, it doesn't feel like a triumphant return, it feels like a goodbye. That voice you heard on screen was not fully his. It was stitched together using old AI recordings and tech magic smoke and mirrors. Val wanted that scene so badly the crew did whatever it took to make it happen, but behind the scenes he was struggling. Every shoot day wore him down. Every single line was a mountain to climb. And after that movie dropped, Val went silent. No interviews, no red carpets. No surprise appearances. Fans thought maybe he was just living low-key, enjoying peace, but the truth is he was slowly fading out, and those closest to him noticing Val stopped picking up calls went to voicemail. Texts left on read where and never opened at all. Some friends hadn't seen him in months. Even family members were out of the loop. But no one really pressed it. This was Val Kilmer, the mysterious soul, the spiritual wanderer. Silence had always been part of his vibe until April 1st hit. And when the news broke that he died, a lot of people prayed it was some twisted April Fool's joke, but it wasn't. The autopsy report changed everything. Everyone knew he'd been battling throat cancer, but that wasn't listed as the cause. Instead, pneumonia was. And here's where it gets weird. Pneumonia has quietly become Hollywood's go-to label for unexpected deaths. Kim Porter and Andre Harold, same script. A safe cause that doesn't raise too many questions, but Kilmer's report had layers of lingering infections and surgical wounds that never healed. He was severely malnourished. The coroner's notes didn't just describe illness. They painted a picture of possible neglect, or maybe someone who'd completely withdrawn, muscle wasting, untreated infections, and old wounds still trying to heal. This wasn't just someone who passed suddenly. This was a slow, painful fade. The kind of physical state you'd expect from someone who had been silently slipping away for years. I have an answer for us. It's been a while. Oh, you look great. And here's the haunting part. The coroner said some of those infections could have been treated, but they weren't, because Val wasn't asking for help. He was in pain, and he kept it locked inside. And the autopsy confirmed it. Val had high levels of prescription painkillers in his system, not enough for an overdose, but enough to know he was living in constant pain, not just physical. The emotional weight was heavy too. That kind of pain you stop talking about it. You stop trying to explain, because deep down you know nobody really understands. In those final years, he turned inward, painting, journaling, and holding tight to the love of his kids. But even with all that, he was isolating, and just days before he passed, he posted a haunting Batman tribute. Looking back now, it almost feels like a final message. And because Val Kilmer wasn't just a star, he was a rebel in a cape. A man who dared to say no in an industry built on secrets and silence, and if that got him blacklisted, it forces us to ask who else stayed quiet just to survive. Maybe Kilmer's silence wasn't weakness. Maybe it was his only shield, a strategy, a last line of protection, because the real story is not just how he died, it's why he disappeared. If this hit you hard, you're not alone. So hit that like, smash subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below. Did Val know too much? Was he trying to warn us? And trust our next video, it's about to get even messier. Are you there?